What's up, y'all? Talon here. Today I'm back with another series of high-level ranked battles featuring top teams in the Regulation E metagame. Today I have a team that was created by Paul Ruiz, the 2018 World Champion. He piloted it to, I believe, a top 8 at the Latin American International Championships, along with a top 4 finish with a very similar, if not identical team in the Gdansk Regional Championship. And yeah, so it's just a very interesting team. It's kind of off meta. We have Sinistcha, Kingbambit, Volcarona, all Pokemon that we don't see too often. Chien-Pao we see on Tailwind, but not really on balanced combinations. So I think there's a lot of cool tools here. Paul definitely said that he thinks it's a very favorite in the Tailwind teams, thinks it had a strong matchup in the metagame, and definitely proved it at the tournament he went to, followed up by a good top 4 tournament finish at the next tournament. So he's definitely on something here. So definitely something to be considering if you're trying to dominate the last few weeks of the Regulation E format. Paul has not yet released the team publicly. I believe on his metafy he has the EV spreads along with basically an explanation of how he constructed the team and how it generally plays against common metagame teams. So if you want to support him as well as learn more about the team, I'll have that link in the description below. This team that I'm sharing with the rental code is basically just my estimate. So if you appreciate the effort it took to do that and recreate it in-game mainly, please subscribe to the channel. It does take some time to do that. So any appreciation is helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of the team now. So at a high level view, this team is really interesting because it has 2 setup Pokemon. Usually we'll only have 1 in this format, but this one has the Kingbambit with Swords Dance and the Volcarona with Quiver Dance, along with Intimidate, Landorus to provide some defensive support, Chien-Pao actually to provide offensive support for the Kingbambit. It is a Tera Poison one, so you lose out a bit on the Tera Dark calcs, but switching in Sword of Ruin is very similar to a Tera Dark boost, so interesting support in that fashion. Iron Hands, of course, has the Fake Out support to basically allow for the setup of the Kingbambit and the Volcarona, and then Sinistcha is definitely the star, I think. It offers Rage Powder, of course, to redirect attacks away from those Pokemon, but more interestingly is the Trick Room for the Kingbambit. So oftentimes Kingbambit is basically stuck in these mind games where you do get the Swords Dance up and now you can Sucker Punch and KO most things, but if they just don't attack, it gives your opponent opportunity to switch around, reposition. But if you set up Trick Room with the Sinistcha, you definitely can just go for Kowtow, Cleaves at +2 with no risk of the Sucker Punches failing, which is a really cool combination. Diving in a little bit deeper, we have the Iron Hands with the Tera Fire. Outside of that, it's pretty standard. Definitely pairs well with the Trick Room on the Sinistcha, but beyond that, Heavy Slam just to be able to deal with Flutter Mane, especially well with the Tera Fire. Usually it's like Tera Water or Tera Grass, which becomes neutral to Moonblast, but it still does a fair amount of damage. But if you go for Tera Fire, you just suddenly hard counter most Flutter Mane. Chien-Pao is a Tera Ghost with Ice Spinner. You don't have grassy terrain on the field, so you are free to go for Ice Spinner. Also makes your matchup against Rillaboom and Indeedee a little bit easier because you can clear their terrain right away. You also don't have to worry about missing, which is really appreciated. Unfortunately, you do get hit by Rocky Helmet, but that is a pretty good trade-off for all the benefits of Ice Spinner, especially when Grassy Glide can be a little bit annoying for Landorus, and Iron Hands Wood Hammer definitely hits for a big chunk in the grassy terrain if you have not gone for a Tera on either of those, so it's an interesting defensive option. Tera Ghost just to be able to resist and be immune rather to Extreme Speed, Fake Out, Fighting type moves, which would otherwise give Chien-Pao some trouble, but overall pretty uninteresting. The Kingbambit is, I'd say, the most interesting part of the team. It is Dread Plate, style points over Black Glasses, I guess. It does have the same effect as the Black Glasses, the 1.2 times boost to any of its Dark type moves. And here we have a Tera Poison instead of Tera Dark, which is more common. So Tera Poison basically lets you resist the Fairy type moves from Flutter Mane. That's definitely really appreciated. Oftentimes people's Kingbambit answer is just go for really strong Dazzling Gleams, but now with Tera Poison, they really are incentivized to either make a read on Shadow Ball that you're going to go for the Tera Poison, or like if they go for Dazzling Gleam, it's not going to do that much when you resist it. So I do really like that defensive Tera choice a lot. I know a lot of people are, I think, leaning towards more defensive Teras. Like Neil released a video with a Tera Dragon Kingbambit. It's definitely just picking up in usage. The Tera Dark, not quite cutting it as people have started to adjust to it. The Landorus, of course, very standard, kind of similar to Hands, and Chien-Pao really pairs well with the Chien-Pao actually. The Tera Flying will be able to knock out all Amoonguss after the Sword of Ruin is on the board. Most physically defensive Amoonguss won't fall to a Tera Blast these days, but with the Sword of Ruin you can guarantee that knockout, which is really nice. Volcarona is pretty bulky. I believe it can live a -1 Tera Blast from Landorus, which is pretty impressive if you have to go for that. Flame Body is definitely really cool with the Terra Grass because you can go for that, and then if an Urshifu decides to attack into you, you're basically taking negligible damage while they are almost 100%. I mean, not almost 100%, but they are very, very likely, over 50% likely to get hit by a burn in that instant. So that's really nice. If you have a Quiver Dance up, you can outspeed them. Go for a Giga Drain, straight up knock that out. And then, yeah, I believe speed is to outspeed Chien-Pao or max speed Flutter Mane, so that's really cool. Sinistcha's Hospitality really pairs well with this team just because you do often take a bit of damage on Kingambit or Volcarona for your setup. If you don't, even if you have Fake Out on the field, you will take a little bit of damage, but being able to switch in the Hospitality Sinistcha after you're really threatening a lot of offensive pressure, maybe go for a Protect, maybe go for another setup or pressure and knockout. But regardless, the HP is just very appreciated, and once it's in, if you didn't want to attack the last turn, you went for Protect, now you're a little safer to go for Rage Powder plus an attack or another setup move, honestly. But in its own right, the Sinistcha does just pair well into the metagame. The Rocky Helmet lets it sit on Urshifu, basically switch into Surging Strikes, make it think twice about clicking that, most notably. Strength Zap, really cool move. Basically, you bring your opponent to -1 attack, and then you take you steal the amount of HP that is equal to their attack stat. So like if you're up against a Landorus with 196 attack or 198 or something, you would heal 198. I don't think Sinistcha's HP stat is that high, but generally this is effectively a full heal if you're attacking into a physical Pokemon, and at least like 50% if you're attacking into special Pokemon. So that's really, really crazy healing. Machagacha, of course, is a really powerful move. Base 90, maybe 80, not sure about that, with the chance to burn as well as always heals yourself from both targets, really good. And as I mentioned before, the Trick Room, really excellent with the Iron Hands and Kingambit. This team can functionally work like a Trick Room team with the setup component, so that's a really cool option as well. Overall, once again, thank you to Paul for building this team. If you want to get the basically his EVs and his explanation on how to use the team, I have his metafy linked in the description below. Please give your support to him. If you appreciate the video, please subscribe to me. And with all that being said, let's get into the battles now. Super interesting team from my opponent. They have Sableye, Espathra, Landorus Incarnate, Heatran, Iron Bundle, and Rillaboom. Okay. I think this is a Gravity team with Sableye. Is there any way we can exploit that? 100% Machagacha isn't bad, but Heatran is pretty bad for Sinistcha. They can't Will-O-Wisp a Dark type. We can kind of exploit that. Sucker Punch is really solid. Terra Poison's decent. I could honestly see Trick Room being effective for me. I could see that. Volcarona is actually kind of compelling. I might go in that direction this game. Volcarona with a Quiver Dance, and then I just need to beat the Heatran. Basically, I just need to force the Terra out of the Heatran, is the idea. I need to be able to threaten the Iron Bundle because they can freeze dry me. Chien-Pao seems pretty good against most of their Pokemon. And then the question is, do I go Lando? It's pretty tempting. I don't think I need Sinistcha here, but the Hospitality is always nice, and I think I went with it, but I think Landorus to force the Heatran to Terra is probably a little more favorable. Even if I can get it to Terra into something that's 2 times weak, like Terra Grass, that's better than 4 times weak. At least I'm healing a decent amount with Giga Drain. But I think the plan here is get a Quiver Dance or 2 and use that to my advantage. They are Sableye, Espathra. Is it Fairy Psychic on Espathra? I think it's actually just Psychic. I could see it being Covert Cloak for sure. Encore would be troublesome on the Sableye, as would a Will-O-Wisp. Fake Out would be something, it'd be fine to burn them, but I feel like Gravity is their play this turn. Could have Fake Outed the Espathra, maybe should have, but they just as easily could be Covert Cloak. Yeah, and they go for the Hypnosis, so we do take the first turn of sleep, so I'm fine with that, but a bit annoying now that they can set up on me and I can't as easily Quiver Dance on them because of gravity. Maybe I should have just double attacked there. Regardless, I think I'm going to go for... Honestly, Trick Room seems kind of good. They go right for the Hypnosis, so it's not going to matter, but they're not really threatening a lot of damage on Sableye, so it's like not the end of the world. One issue, if I wake up too early on Volcarona and I don't get a wake on Sinistcha... Oh, Snarl? Oh my god, okay. This is problematic. Now they can start going for Calm Mind plus Stored Power, which is difficult. I think I will attempt to go for the Trick Room in that case. Yeah, I don't want my Focus Sash broken. I'm gonna go right into the Iron Hands and go for a Trick Room. If I can get that up, I'll probably commit to Terrifier to avoid Will-O-Wisp on the Sableye, or on the Iron Hands, and yeah, just try and deal with things that way. Sableye switches though. That could be favorable. Heatran? Not so much. We have burned 2 turns of sleep. Lumina Crash. Alright, that's the turn you attack. Fair enough. We do wake up. That's very good. But the sleep is just super bad. Or the special defense drop. If not for that, I'd feel pretty happy. But now they can probably knock us out with an Earth Power, which is super annoying. Super, super annoying. They can Heat Wave too pretty freely. Yeah, very, very, very dicey situation. Honestly, might just double attack here and hope they don't protect. They're gonna go for a Tera on one of them, which is interesting. Probably the Heatran if I had to guess. Alright. Goal number 1, force that Tera is good, and it's not Tera Grass, which is ideal for Volcarona. But unfortunately yeah, Heavy Slam, gonna do a lot. Maybe should have Wild Charged. Probably should have. The combination of this would most likely knock out. It would have been close, but hard to say for sure. Yeah, this is gonna be hard for Volcarona to make a comeback with. Substitute, I think, is fine. I'd rather them do that. Heat Wave, Earth Power, most likely. They hit the Hypnosis, which is annoying for sure. Yeah, okay. That's troublesome. Okay. Heat Wave, most likely to come out here. Their Espathra is speeding along, of course. Gravity's about to end, though. I think I would like to end 1 turn of sleep. They protect the Espathra, totally fine. I Drain Punch myself while I take my first turn of sleep. And it's interesting they went for that. We might actually break their sub into Machagachas now, instead of otherwise definitely not being able to, but they just didn't want to get Drain Punch, which is fair enough. Magma Storm, okay. That's annoying. Sub Magma Storm, very annoying. Even more so for my Volcarona, actually. Yeah, okay. Way more so for my Volcarona, because I could otherwise maybe 1v1 it with Quiver Dance if they were Heat Wave. But with Magma Storm, it's very, very unlikely, I would say. Gravity returns, like a 100% accurate Magma Storm is pretty crazy. So Gravity ends, which is something. 2 Pokemon asleep. Iron Hands is a 3rd chance to wake up here. Obviously not great. Who would you likely have in the back? Lando, I would be cool for you. I think I'm just gonna go Heavy Slam. Gravity ended. I think I'm gonna go Heavy Slam and Giga Drain. on the chance that I wake up. They switch out, so could have gone for a Quiver Dance there. Sableye in, okay. We do stay asleep, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, that first turn I should have just double attacked into the Espathra. That was a bit risky on my hand. We do wake up though, okay, so that's solid. We get some good damage off. I think a Magma Storm will honestly knock me out. I'm not sure how I win this game without them not being Encore, to tell you the truth. Yeah, it's looking pretty dire here. I think I might live that, so I'm going to go for a Wild Charge, Quiver Dance. I think I have to bet it all on this Volcarona, unfortunately. And with Magma Storm, that's a pretty bad bet, but it's what I have to bet. There goes the Wild Charge. We did outspeed. Oh, that's pretty huge. We do knock them out. Why did Heavy Slam do so little? Is Sableye Is Sableye thicker than I think? It must be. Yeah, the Magma Storm hits this time because they do get the gravity up, and we live, but live even at -2. But we get the Quiver Dance up, which is, I think, more important. Because we'll have the jump on this Espathra, even though they will be able to protect and go for Hypnosis the next turn. I think what I'll most likely do is go for another Quiver Dance to kind of stop that and protect my Chien-Pao. It's a bit aggressive, but I think probably the play I need to make. I think Espathra outspeeds Volcarona at +1, so I do feel that's necessary. Yeah, definitely necessary. There's a small chance. I don't know Espathra's speed stat, like the max speed stat off the top of my head, but I think at +2, it might have a chance to outspeed me. It'd be a little close. I think I'm going to protect Quiver Dance. Expect them to make a defensive play on the Espathra and go for Magma Storm into Chien-Pao, take that knockout. Yep, we do get that, at least the Espathra protect correctly. Ideally, they Magma Storm into my into my Chien-Pao, and then we have a chance to win this, I think. Not a big chance, but a chance. They Magma Storm into the Chien-Pao. Okay, that's something. Let's lock in that slot as a knockout. It could be Flamethrower or Giga Drain. I think Bundle folds to Flamethrower, so should Rillaboom and honestly Landorus Eye, so yeah. So I think that's what we're going for. Do we get any benefit at all from Tera Grass? Maybe? Almost certainly not, though. I don't think we live a Magma Storm. I think it's best to break the sub here. I don't think we live a Magma Storm, even with the Protect, or with the Tera Ghost, so I'm not going for it, just in case the endgame does come down to, like, for example, hitting a boosted Tera Grass, or like a stab Giga Drain onto the Heatran. Like, I could see that being the endgame. This is one situation where you would love to be Fiery Dance on the Volcarona. Yep, they go for that Magma Storm, which is obviously very good against Chien-Pao. Otherwise, I'd live this comfortably and be able to go for another Ice Spinner, but the Magma swirling, twirling, whirling around on me. Gonna make things a little more difficult. Heatran went for a sub earlier in the game, but back to full HP. However, we do have the defensive advantage, and Gravity won't last forever. I think they have 2 more turns of it. Landorus, okay. I think I'm totally fine to go for a Protect here. Let's just verify the Gravity turn, though. Yeah, 2 more. They could go for a Substitute, which would be annoying. Yeah, that would be very annoying. Lando's probably not doing that much damage to me. I feel like that's not true at all. I think I'm going to protect. It feels to me like if they substitute, they're wasting a turn of Magma Storm, 100% accuracy, but they didn't protect their Lando, so I kind of got there. They did go for the Magma Storm, fair enough. Unfortunately, they'll always get that hit off, but I should be healing a fair amount of HP the next couple turns, so I think that might be fine. I think Flamethrower is a knockout on the Lando, so I'm going to go for it. They could protect this turn, which, you know, would be fair play. They do not. Okay, that's a start, and we do get the knockout. They aren't bulky enough to survive that, so... Heatran Volcarona, back in the day, that'd almost be guaranteed for Volk, but... Magma Storm and Tera are going to make this kind of interesting. They did, what was that, like 60 HP, so they'll do 120 with the... after the Tera. Okay. Gravity returns. I think Giga Drain for the first one is correct. Honestly, another Quiver Dance might be right on the Protect. Very tempted to go for it. I think I will. Oh, they don't protect. Oh man, okay. Got me there. They could miss a Magma Storm. They go for Substitute. Okay. So they read that correctly. Not the end of the world, because I'm still going to heal damage with Giga Drain, but I think that's definitely makes things a little trickier. They'll do less damage with Magma Storm now. And at +3, I would expect Tera Grass Giga Drain to knock them out from near full. But yeah, we're only net 12. We're only down net 12 that turn, but if we'd gone Giga Drain, we would have probably knocked them low enough to win the battle. But yeah, there's the Giga Drain. Healing up, how much HP? 24? That's probably enough. As long as they don't crit a Magma Storm and Earth Power, we should be good here. Earth Power is doing nothing. Not even getting the special defense drop. I don't think it's necessary for me to go for the Tera Grass. I could, but I don't think it's necessary. Well, Magma Storm crit will knock me out regardless here, I believe. Magma Storm crit should do basically 120 times 1.5, so 180 regardless, so... With all the healing I'll get from this, I should be good. Magma Storm lasts how many turns? I think it's 4. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go right for the KO here with the Tera Grass Giga Drain. I feel like we're at the point where it's a knockout. They could protect our leftovers healing, but they have also seen me read that a couple times with my protects play defensive, so I think I'm just going to go for the knockout. I think +3 stab Giga Drain onto the Heatran should be enough, and if it's not, they still have to crit me to knock me out. Okay, yeah, fair. But again, I think they have to crit this Magma Storm to KO, and if they have to crit... Basically, if they're going to crit me, they'll crit me and knock me out whether I have gone for the Tera or not. Giga Drain is going to heal me out of the range where this will be a knockout if they don't crit, even with the Tera Grass. So going for the Tera potentially gives me the damage boost that I need to take the knockout before they get the crit chance, which is why I'm going for it. Even though I guess technically Giga Drain's a little weaker in a situation where I don't get the knockout, which is actually what happens. But yeah, as we see, we are back at 160. They go for the Magma Storm, do connect, and they do not get a crit. And as we can see with the +3 special defense and leftovers and the Giga Drain healing, we are comfortably back up. I think Magma Storm will end in... Actually, I don't remember if you hit multiple times with the Magma Storm, if it resets the count. But I do feel like we're slowly getting out of that Magma Storm. range, and I think they'd have to get maybe 3 or 4 protects to actually win this. Probably more than that, but yeah, they do just cancel. So that does show like the game plan, even though things started to go kind of off the rails, as long as we forced the Tera on the Heatran, we were able to clean up with the Volcarona in the late game, just like we predicted in the team preview. I think my approach versus Espathra was definitely very flawed. I should have been a little more proactive in dealing with that, because the Hypnosises basically put it into Sleep Turn's hands, and you never want to do that if you can avoid it. So if I had basically knocked out the Espathra, or at least done damage to it on the first turn and then knocked it out the next turn, then I guarantee they only get 1 Hypnosis off, and then I can preserve the Volcarona as my win condition, or the Iron Hands, both of which would have worked pretty well, I think. Ooh, wild one for my opponent. They have Articuno, Galar, and Scizor, along with Urshifu, Ogerpon, Fluttermane, and Roaring Moon. Lando feels like a pretty good bring against their team, which is why they have their Galarian Articuno. Defensively, it's really strong. Kingbambit has its place for sure. Volcarona isn't very... It's not bad, but it's not great against their Ogerpon and their Urshifu. I think Iron Hands is actually quite well posed defensively. If I can get a Hospitality Healing on it, that's super good. I might just go Sinistcha Iron Hands and set up Trick Room. Could be wasteful. Does kind of feel wasteful. I think I'll go Kingbambit, Sinistcha, Iron Hands. It's generally pretty strong lead, and then in the back I will go with Landorus. Seems pretty good utility just overall. If I can handle the Galarian Articuno, I should be fine, and honestly, if I can just do a little bit of chip damage with it, I can clean it up with Terraflying if I haven't gone for that already, or a Rock Slide if I have. But most likely, I'd expect the Iron Hands Kingbambit lead to force the Articuno out, giving me an opportunity to go for Intimidate or force a Tera out of them, and at which point I think Stomping Tantrum or Terraflying, Terra Blast should be the ticket. Articuno Scizor makes sense, but... Ooh, double shiny, very cool. Yeah, I think this is just going to be a fake out onto the Scizor and a Swords Dance for me. If they're Covert Cloak Scizor or Terra fighting Terra Blast Articuno, good for you, you got me. But I think Clear Amulet, a better item on Scizor or Choice Band, so I'm not really worried about that. They protect the Articuno, kind of to be expected, and Fake Out does go into the Scizor. We'll see what they have. Yep, no Covert Cloak. That's a pretty uncommon item on a Pokemon like Scizor, so I wasn't too worried about it. They could be Trick Room here. I kind of doubt it. I feel like Sucker Punch is a safe-ish play. I could switch into Lando, but it's kind of dicey. Sucker Punch very, very likely, or very obvious into the Articuno. I think I'm going to protect the... Freezing Glare I'm not going to love taking on this guy. I'm going to Terra Poison this turn, and I didn't Sucker Punch the Articuno, which I was tempted to, but I didn't go for it. Mainly because I felt a switch was reasonably likely, but I did waste my Terra Poison. Well, not necessarily. If Scizor attacks here, then I wasted it. I think that was attack boost. I didn't pay too close attention. But I think if Scizor attacks here, it should be getting knocked out. I would expect it to be a close combat, if anything, which is why I was tempted to protect, but I thought that might be a little too passive of a play. Okay, protect on Scizor. That's fair. I think I have a pretty safe switch out into the Lando now, so I'm fine with that. And I will just go after this Scizor with a Kowtow Cleave. I'm not really worried about the Roaring Moon, unless it's Clear Amulet, which, as we saw earlier, it is definitely not, because it's Booster Energy. So yeah, I haven't been playing the Sucker Punches. Right, I guess Protect was like, honestly, if you have close combat, I think you just go for it there. That was a little passive of a play on the Scizor when I could have like really gotten aggressive. Like I wasn't really threatened too badly. I could have Kowtow Cleaved the Articuno. Would have been resisted on the Roaring Moon, but definitely a 2-hit KO, and I would venture to say it would actually, the combination of two would probably knock it out. Maybe not. I know that's true of maybe Chen Bao, but... Okay, Bullet Punch, doing some damage. Nothing some Hospitality won't heal. Oh, Knockoff is smart though. That's a lot of damage. Not the worst thing. We do take out the Scizor, which is nice, and we get Intimidate in free. Even without the Dread Plate, you can see the damage. Like, Scizor is a bulky physical Pokemon, but Kingbambit's just like way overtuned as a Mon. This is all fine though. They'll probably get a knockoff here, unfortunately, which is sad, but not the end of the world, because I still should be able to go Sucker Punch into Articuno, honestly. U-turn into Roaring Moon should be fine. I could Protect, get Hospitality, but I think that damage on the Roaring Moon, or on the Articuno, even if it does go for Tera, would be valuable. What do they have in the back? Yeah, that does seem valuable to me. I could Sucker Punch the Roaring Moon too, and I am very tempted to, but the only problem with that play is if I do that, and Articuno goes for a defensive Tera, then I do get into some trouble. Which they do appear to be going for the defensive Tera. It is Dragon, which is interesting. They're, you know, most like, honestly with Dread Plate we could have maybe knocked out, probably not. Oh wow, we just knock out anyways, okay. Yeah, Kingbambit, kind of a crazy Mon. Like if you are not one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the format, like just trained super defensively, you're gonna take like that level even without Dread Plate. That's what surprises me. Dread Plate, I was like, yeah, that probably knocks out, probably gonna do 85 without, but no, we just straight up get it. Feels like Knockoff is coming this turn into the Kingbambit slot if I had to guess. Or yeah, the Iron Hand slot is what I meant. Basically the previous Lando slot, knock off my Choice Scarf, let your Roaring Moon outspeed it later in the game, but yeah, not gonna work there. Ogerpon's interesting. They have already used their Tera. I'm applying Fake Out pressure. I'm just gonna go Hospitality, switch out, and then Sucker Punch you. I have Lando in the back, so I just have to position that. If I bring in Sinistcha, what's that do for me? That gives me healing and lets me live any attack from Roaring Moon. And at this point, the Sinistcha is kind of useless except for Trick Room. If I get Trick Room up with Iron Hands and the Sinistcha, I automatically win, but that's going to be pretty hard ask to get. We do Sucker Punch and get the Ogerpon, not a knockout. It does have some decent physical bulk, and they go for Breaking Swipe. Okay, yeah, taking a chip of Rocky Helmet now. But I think at this point, we are very primed for Lando T. We could honestly Rock Slide to close this game out. It'd be a little more inaccurate, but definitely an option. Ivy Cudgel into the Kingbambit. Oh my goodness. Whenever you're playing with this Pokemon, it feels like you're honestly playing with... like, it just feels like you're playing with... Yeah, they cancel out. But I went for Rage Powder. Or I went for Trick Room, because if I live the turn, Iron Hands wins. And Sucker Punch, because to actually make sure I don't live the turn and not take Knockoff Recoil to put you in range of just like anything from my Lando. Or Knockoff Rocky Helmet Heal. Chip, pardon me. Then you have to knock off into the Sinistcha. But yeah, just another really incredible game for the Kingbambit. It is so strong on this team. With the Sinistcha for healing, letting it hit a little longer than it normally would able to is like a big difference, especially having redirection. In addition to that, alright, my opponent here also has a Sinistcha, but definitely a different supporting cast. They have Annihilape, Arcanine, Moltres, Grimmsnarl, and munkidori, and Sinistcha. So I see Arcanine, Annihilape. My first thought in best of one closed team sheet is Self-Rock Blast, so I gotta be wary of that. I feel like Tera Poison's a pretty solid deal for me here against all their stuff. They really don't love playing Kingambit. But I don't love Intimidate on a lead against them. That'd be annoying for sure. I feel like I could truthfully just set up Trick Room with my Sinistcha and go off to their races a bit. If they're Fake Out Grimmsnarl, that makes things a little trickier. Giga Drain Volk is also decent. Like Quiver Dance Volk could have some play for me. Yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna go after the Trick Room setup early. Feels reasonably good to me. Iron Hands in the back, and then Bulk Up Annihilape could be annoying. But I think if I give myself Sword of Ruin, we might have the damage we need. I don't love Grimmsnarl or Landorus here. Doesn't, like, it obviously does well against munkidori, but against the rest, it's a little suspect if I don't have Tera Flying. And I, on some level, expect to expend my Tera earlier in the battle, so I don't want to rely on a Tera Blast Lando endgame when I'm most likely going to be pulled to Tera in other directions earlier. Munkidori Annihilape, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Frisk, blah blah blah. Rocky Helmet, okay. I think I just go Swords Dance Rage Powder here. I could go Protect Trick Room for sure. They Fake Out, probably would have been better then. Yeah, that's tricky for sure. They could have Taunt. I feel like it's most likely Parting Shot. Could have set up Trick Room. Okay. No biggie. Because I still feel like I can set up Rage Powder Swords Dance here and be fine at the end of the day. Like, what are the odds they Drain Punch me? Pretty low. But not zero. Tera Poison, what's that do negatively for me? Not much. Not much at all. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Swords Dance and yeah, it's usually Parting Shot stabs, so I don't think they can I mean, they could self-proc. Like Sludge Bomb Rage Fist would be, I think, a pretty neat play from them. Yeah, we'll see. I think I have a chance to live this Rage Fist because they haven't hit anything yet. They Psychic into Sinistcha. Makes sense. Ooh. Oh, they bulk up again. That's totally fine. Psychic. Okay. Unfortunately, they probably have a knockout into my Kingbambit with Rage Fist if I hit them, unfortunately. And they also have a knockout into my E. Okay. They're most likely Focus Sash, which is annoying, but I think I probably still just have to go Matcha Gotcha here onto the munkidori. They switch out. Man, I could have gone for something else. Sinistcha the Great. Okay, so we're going to hit a Matcha Gotcha on their Annihilape, and if I don't burn, I'm probably in a bit of trouble, but they do Protect. Okay. So they'll be able to reset Fake Out, which is somewhat of a concern, but not the worst thing in the world, because we knock out their Sinistcha. That's at least something. They are at +2, which is annoying for sure. I don't think we have a knockout, unfortunately, into their Annihilape with Sword of Ruin, even with Dreadplate. We have to get some kind of damage off. Munkidori is going to come out. We might be fine, because I should just be able to go for break their sash, protect. Ooh, let's not run. No reason to take the Rage Fist here, and then we go for Matcha Gotcha. Drain their munkidori to sash, and then potentially burn their Annihilape. We are giving them an activation, unfortunately, but I think it's something that has to be done. Okay, they double attack here, maybe. Good damage on the Annihilape for sure. Probably brings them into range of what I need. Healing a lot of HP. Crazy move. And no burn. But they're going to take Rocky Helmet Chip. I think they're at a point where, like, we're basically neutral Kowtow Cleave. I think we have a knockout into them. Psychic, of course, yeah. They're +2, 100 base power Rage Fist, which I think is probably a knockout into us, but Kowtow, I think it's better to bring out Chien-Pao and force a situation where they have to either protect or like just make a read, basically. Do they have a switch in? I don't think they do. And what I mean by that is, do they have a switch in for the munkidori? Kowtow is going to be really close to a knockout, but I think probably just shy, if I had to guess. Drain Punch would be annoying here. I think I'm going to go Kowtow, Sucker Punch, and just like... yeah, knock out their munkidori. I think they could have Terra'd there on munkidori. That'd be a pretty interesting play, but they don't see it, or they don't think it's necessary. I think Kowtow with Dreadplate has a chance to knock out Annihilape with Sword of Ruin. Yeah, that damage is just outrageous. What a busted Pokemon Kingbambit is. Like, it just feels like so strong. Like, Bisharp was already like a good Pokemon. But, oh, it was Arcanine in the back. Yeah, they never could have brought it in against Kingbambit from turn 1. But yeah, that was Annihilape at like +2, just sitting in. I'm getting knocked out from neutral, or effectively neutral from the Sword of Ruin boost, so crazy, crazy Pokemon. I think we just go for our Kowtow Cleave and protect our Chien-Pao. No real reason not to. Sorry, Joy-Con's going nuts. Yeah, they do cancel. Yeah, Kingambit claims another one. It's so strong. You just sit it in front of people and they can't do anything about it. It's kind of like Goldengo in that aspect where stopping the setup is way easier said than done, and once it's up, it's like so hard to come back from. But unlike Goldengo, where when you're taking the Make It Rains, at least you are lowering its special attack. If you take a Sucker Punch, like all that's doing is lowering its PP by 1 for a potential like late game read situation. Cool team from my opponent. They have Talonflame, Mimikyu, Chi-Yu, Azumarill, the Tinkaton, and the Blood Moon Ursa. Okay. Honestly, so many things that could Will-O-Wisp my Kingambit. I'm a little worried. The Talonflame, Mimikyu, and Chi-Yu could all do it, if not just threaten a knockout, so I'm a little discouraged from that. I kind of like Volcarona into a lot of their Pokemon. Except for Chi-Yu, it does pretty well. Chi-Yu and Talonflame, which of course both lose to Lando. Lando feels like a pretty safe lead, honestly, against much of their team. Iron Hands Lando, really strong, potentially. And I think Volcarona in the back, plus maybe Sinistcha. I think I'm actually going to go Lando, Volk, Sinistcha, Iron Hands. Curiously enough, I don't really love Chien-Pao here. And I think if I get a Quiver Dance up, I'm likely going to take some damage to do so. So I want to be able to go for Hospitality and Rage Powder to protect after that. And I also basically don't want to lead Lando Iron Hands and lose both of my answers to Chi-Yu Talonflame right off the bat, or mainly Chi-Yu. But they do lead with the Tinkaton and the Mimikyu. Fair enough. They probably have own tempo, yeah, fair. But I think we can just go U-turn Quiver Dance and it's fine. Right? I mean, they're going to fake out one, if I had to guess, unless they're going for Rock Tomb, but I guess taking a Will-O-Wisp isn't the worst thing in the world. They go for a fake out, they get a critical hit, unfortunately, but we're going to break that sash and probably go right into our Hospitality friend. They didn't get burned on the Tinkaton, which is, you know, 70% chance not to. Would have liked to see it. We're going to go Sinistcha just in case they go for Will-O-Wisp on that slot. And also just in case they go for Trick Room. If I want to have the option to reverse that. And Volcarona moves first, and they do go for Trick Room. Okay. I feel like Iron Hands is a decent switch in here, but they could go for Play Rough, unfortunately. They are threatening double Play Rough onto my switch in, unfortunate. I think I'll just go Matcha Gotcha and... Was that necessary? Could try and reverse Trick Room. I think I'm going to go with Quiver Dance, Matcha Gotcha. A Ghost type move won't do that much for Mimikyu. If it has anything, I would expect it to be Shadow Sneak and not Shadow Claw. They're going to switch out the Tinkaton, which is interesting. A little worried about the damage from a Flamethrower, definitely, but yeah, very glad I went for Matcha Gotcha there. We're going to tag. We're not going to tag the Azumarill on switch in. Ooh, that actually complicates things for my Volk. Now I have to hit it with Flamethrower. Yikes, okay. Curse, interesting. Is there like block or anything on this team that I don't know about? That's very interesting. Could be Parasong on the Azu. I'm not sure what's going on, truthfully. Okay. Sap Sipper Azu with no embedded Parasong is very interesting. I can always hit you with this, though. And I will probably go for that. Maybe not. I think I'll take the Mimikyu here, just because the damage output from Sap Sipper Azu isn't really that threatening. It is at +1, so, you know, halfway there to huge power, but they go for Protect. And what I really wanted to avoid was them going for a Encore into my Volcarona after the Quiver Dance. Oh, they tried to reverse Trick Room. I think I probably would have been okay with that. Very, very odd team, but they do get another curse. I should be able to Strength Sap my way out of that, though, so I'm not like too pressed. I don't think Strength Sap would work on the Azu. Okay, there is the Galar champion. This guy. How many turns of Trick Room left? 2. They will outspeed me and hit me with a pretty strong hit. Probably better to preserve the HP on my Sinistcha. Or are you Weakness Policy? You could be. You could be Weakness Policy here. I'm going to Rage Powder just in case. And go for another Quiver Dance, I want to say is right. But maybe not. Probably not right. Tinkaton in the back. Tera flying, most likely no. Yeah, so I'm Rage Powdering in case they're going for something like weak Aqua Jet Weakness Policy setup into their Ursaluna, but they are going for a Tera. Normal, fair. Could be Brick Break just as easily. But I'm going Tera Grass to heal a little bit more from the Giga Drain. Thought about going for Quiver Dance, but I think the damage onto the Ursaluna should be sufficient to clean up with whatever I have in the back. And I just want to heal up a bit more. Thankful I got the Quiver Dance because if they are for some reason Safety Goggles, Brick. Oh, Helping Hand. That works too. If they're Choice Specs, this probably knocks me out. Unfortunately, Sinistcha does not underspeed Ursaluna. Yeah, there is the Hyper Voice. I didn't really want to lose my Lando to that just yet. We do survive, and we get to go for a Giga Drain, probably heal back up. Not to full, they were Life Orb. Probably out of range of another, did it about 125 to us. We'll probably, maybe after a Protect, be there. Yeah, we are out of range after leftovers here, unless they get a high roll rather. That's all fortunate though, because we can go Iron Hands. It is the last turn of Trick Room, but we can apply Fake Out. We've confirmed their Life Orb. We've confirmed they are Terra Normal and not Terra Ghost, so that is all good stuff for us. Fake Out. Honestly, Flamethrower into the Azu works for me. I don't think they have a knockout. Best they could do is Encore me into Sap Sipper. That'd be interesting, but I don't think that's a play for them. Switching into Tinkaton's a little too passive, I think, on the Ursaluna slot, but if they don't do that, then I just pick it up next turn with either of my Pokemon. So I think they probably have to switch the Azu slot. Okay, they switch out the Ursaluna slot. So they make the correct play for this turn, but I'm not sure if it's the correct play in the long term. Yep, there is the Fake Out into the Tinkaton, take a bit of Rocky Helmet, and Parasong. Fair enough. They'd have to use Block or something to actually get some value out of that. And before they do, I will be switching out into my Landorus. Yeah, Parasong could be one way out. They don't have any defensive pressure or offensive pressure, so they kind of have to do that. Because I can knock out anything with a single hit into the Ursaluna slot, so they have to find a way to win the battle without that damage. And we are just so beyond risk against this Azu with the Terra Grass. Like even a +1 Aqua Jet crit from there. Okay, yeah, they fake out the Lando. This is over. Because their Azu will now knock itself out with Parasong in a couple turns, and I can just freely attack into the Ursaluna. Bounce. Yeah. Something like that is not going to save them. I have been hit by some nasty Custat Berry dive strategies in the past with Parasong, but unfortunately I don't think this is going to be one of those times. You do need the Pokemon. You need the Parasong and Pokemon advantage to do so. With Iron Hands in the back, should always outspeed this Ursaluna. We should be closing it out with Stomping Tantrum. And yeah, really no reason to mess around. I'm just like trying to think of a way where this battle goes faster, but I think, yeah, they cancel, so no reason to. Interesting battle. Very weird stuff. I could see a Custat Berry Azu working out better for them there, but unfortunately they just didn't make good enough use of the Trick Room turns for it to work out that way. So they got an Ursaluna out earlier that would have been good for them, but yeah, Tinkaton, Mimikyu, not the most aggressive pressure applying lead. Okay, up against number 125 on the ladder with a very interesting Annihilape focused team. They have Annihilape, Maushold once again back from the grave, Grimmsnarl, Arcanine, Rillaboom, and Sinistcha. Okay. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there. I like my own Sinistcha a fair bit. Potentially as a lead. Taunt Maushold could be a problem for sure. I think honestly Giga Drain Volt could be nice for me. It seems pretty nice, actually. I could bluff. Ooh, yeah, I could bluff here. Interesting. A lot of interesting options. Yeah, they're just presenting a lot of options against me. I'm gonna go Sinistcha Volcarona, I think. Or Kingambit Volcarona, rather. And Sinistcha in the back with this? I don't know if that's right. I think going both Volcarona and Kingbambit is probably generally inadvisable. But this is definitely an atypical game against just heavy Annihilape setup. At least I think it is. It could be, you know, it could be tidy up mouse hold setup for all I know, but going to guess it's the Annihilape that's the center of their team. Annihilape, mouse hold, fair, yeah. It could be taunt, mouse hold, that's kind of why I didn't lead the Sinistcha. I kind of like Quiver Dance switch, probably. I feel like it's probably not going to be Giga Drain right off. It could be Drain Punch right off the bat, but I doubt it. I really doubt it, but I don't want to give it to them if they do go for that. Well, if they do, they're kind of in trouble. Yeah, they go for beat up. Why did I forget that they could just do that? I guess my concern there was that they could, yeah, totally forgot you can actually just beat up your own Annihilape. That's really bad, because I am getting no damage off here. I'm getting one of my Pokemon set up, but they get their full power Rage Fist set up, and if I don't burn them this turn on the Rage Fist, oh, they go bulk up. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, we'll see, but that's definitely treacherous for us. I feel like Flamethrower will not knock out their mouse hold. I wanted to go Terra Poison here and Kowtow into their Annihilape. But if they double protect, it's kind of bad. But I don't want them to Drain Punch. They could just as easily make a read here, but if they go after the Volcarona, then if they Rage Powder Kingbambit, really good play. No doubt about it. They remember this common team, and they expect, okay, they're probably not going to want to take a Drain Punch here, so they'll go for their Tera, but they go for Follow Me. Flamethrower knocks out the mouse hold, that'd be pretty good, but I am skeptical that it would. But then again, most of the time you'll EV your mouse hold be pretty defensive. They go Drain Punch though. Okay, that's a start. That is a start for sure, because we are actually up 1 on them in terms of offensive pressure. Yeah, that's really good. So they did go for the Drain Punch. It did 30, and it would have done 8 times more damage because resist 4 times super effective. Yeah, they would have knocked me out. Okay. All right. They could apply Fake Out pressure here, which would be annoying. I think I just go double into the Annihilape here. I could Sucker Punch them, but be a little greedy, I'd say. Would it be? If I go Quiver Dance, then Quiver Dance, Sucker Punch could be a cool play. I don't mind that, actually. I think I'll go for that. They're going to go for a Tera, which is good for them. Maybe they go for Tera Fire. So defensively, they're covering my option on the Volcarona very well, but I think Sucker Punch is good damage here. They reflect faster than me, which is unfortunate. This is basically a neutral Sucker Punch now, maybe a little weaker. Yeah, that's probably not the damage I need to win. but Sacred Sword maybe gets us there. Gonna be close. You know what? Sinistcha is fine because of Rage Powder. Yeah, I think Rage Powder is sufficient. Or not Rage Powder. Rage Powder Rocky Helmet is what I'm getting at. Unfortunately, they'll get a light screen up. I'm at +2. I think what I'm probably going to try for here is... Do I want to go after the Grimmsnarl? Maybe, maybe not. And I think another Quiver Dance is advisable for me, and a Rage Powder gives me another turn. I think if they go Light Screen, the problem is that I don't do enough damage. Yep, so they don't protect here, which is why I would have gone for Quiver Dance, and I'm going for Flamethrower. They're going to hit themselves with the Rocky Helmet, fortunately, but they do get the light screen up first, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, Flamethrower. Oh my god, that does nothing. My goodness, okay. So Quiver Dance probably would have been sufficient. The Rocky Helmet's going to do about as much as the Flamethrower does. Crit obviously does not matter. It's going to have to be Sacred Sword Flamethrower to get them here, I think. I think they're probably going to protect on the Chien-Pao turn, if I had to guess. Which really tempts me to go for... Oh man, it's going to be close. Could be Rilla in the back. Rilla Grassy Terrain feels like a good play from them. So I kind of just want to Flamethrower the Grimmsnarl and Sacred Sword the Annihilape. It'd be Arcanine, wouldn't it? I feel like you always just protect for the leftovers healing. The damage roll is going to be too tight otherwise. I'm going to go Flamethrower Sacred Sword into this, and it should knock out anything. Yeah. Is it Arcanine? Sinistcha, okay. Oh, Hospitality. Great play, okay. Didn't think about that. I feel like Flamethrower Sacred Sword would have gotten close regardless, but at least we hit the Flamethrower onto the Sinistcha and prevent any more of that. But the problem now is... Yeah, Flamethrower wouldn't have gotten there regardless. They Drain Punch. Okay. Drain Punch gives us another turn to work with. Can we wear out? Nah, I mean, it's probably not enough, yeah. Flamethrower, Sacred Sword would have been close. Very close. But then they could have Protect switched out, then gone for another Hospitality, and I think we're still cooked. Yeah, the Terrifier and Annihilape just works out a little too well for them. Yeah, okay. I think the damage just is not here anymore. I could double protect through Reflect. It's probably my only way to win, but we can't even burn them with Rage Fist, so I would say it's pretty dire. I'll double protect just to potentially crit through Reflect, but yeah, it's looking pretty bad. Because every time I protect, I'm giving them leftovers, so... Yeah, of all the setups, Annihilape Mousehold tends to beat other setups, so this is like, if you're looking at a matchup chart, I guess the expected result. Oh, they're Thunder Wave too. Goodness. Reflect Thunder Wave, probably Spirit Break. Rage Fist into the Volk. Fair enough. Interesting they left the Chien-Pao alone. The Chien-Pao alone. I mean, I probably have to crit their Annihilape to win here. So I'll just go for Flamethrower into the Grimmsnarl, hope that knocks out. Spoilers, it almost certainly does not, and Sacred Sword. I guess if I have to Sucker Punch crit anyways, I should just go for a Sucker Punch crit. Because that'll do more. Yeah, I think so. They choose to protect that turn, which feels like an error. Like a big one, because I could have just knocked out your Grimmsnarl with Flamethrower. Maybe I don't, but if I double your Grimmsnarl here, then you potentially lose. I feel like you just risked me not getting one of 2 crits here. Especially if you're going to risk it all the other turns, like on the Sinistcha turn, like I don't see why you don't risk it now. But I will forfeit. Yeah, Annihilape's definitely a tough one, especially Tera Fire. Difficult matchup to beat. Thinking on it, I guess this team doesn't have like the Tera Fire, Bulk Up, or Annihilape answer you would typically have, like the Urshifu. It's not on this team. So what's the answer? Landorus Stomping Tantrum doesn't work through Reflect, and Bulk Up, Kingbambit, tried it, maybe could have supported it a little bit better. Gone for the Sinistcha route instead of the route I ended up going. That is potentially an option. Like get 2 Swords Dances up to beat the Annihilape. That's probably the approach. Volcarona doesn't do it, obviously. Yeah, I'm trying to... Yeah, Chien-Pao definitely no. Iron Hands no. Landorus no. Kingambit maybe. Sinistcha probably a component in the matchup. Redirecting for the Kingambit. Volcarona no. Is that 6? I think it is. Yeah, not really sure what to do about that matchup. Even thinking further, that might just be one of those matchups that you have to eat, which is, I mean, Annihilape's definitely one that you're fine taking. There's not too much of it in the meta, just because of how weak it is to Tailwind and Urshifu. So yeah, definitely got caught off guard not even caught off guard, just really excellent team call from my opponent against this particular team we're using. So that is going to do it for battles today, featuring Paul Ruiz's top 8 of the Latin American International Championship team, featuring the Kingbambit with the Tera Poison, Dread Plate Swords Dance, the Volcarona with the Quiver Dance, and the Sinistcha to basically provide glue and basically let those Pokemon set up a little bit more aggressively, and then later on go for the Hospitality Healing plus Rage Powder combo. Really, really effective. I enjoyed the battles with the team a lot. If you want to try the team for yourself on the ladder, I have the Pokepaste with the EV spreads that I recreated. Definitely not Paul's original ones. If you want to check out his copy of the team and an explanation from the master how to use it yourself, I have his metafy account where you can pay for that article in the description below. I also have the rental code in the top right of the video if you want to use it on Battle Stadium. Yeah, with all that being said, if you enjoyed the videos, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, peace y'all.